Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here once again covering new PC releases for this week of October the 28th to November the 3rd. Starting today, or yesterday rather, on Monday, October the 28th, we saw the release of Blood of the Werewolf. This is a 2D platformer where you play as Selena, a loving mother, devoted wife, and powerful werewolf. You must take revenge on the monsters that have slain your husband and stolen your child. The game features 30 plus creatures with 15 levels and 5 boss battles, and it's being billed as a hardcore classic platforming gameplay with a modern twist. The game includes pressure-sensitive, full air controls for precision moves. I've actually heard from some people who have played this game that it's a pretty quality platformer in the sense that it feels very fluid and very responsive, which is one of the key things to making a good platformer. If you're interested in Blood of the Werewolf, you can pick it up for $9.99. Also on Monday, we saw the Steam release of Slender the Arrival. This is the follow-up to Slender the 8 Pages. The Arrival features a brand new storyline with improved visuals, great replay value, and most importantly, survival horror at its best, according to the Steam synopsis. The Arrival officially also supports the Oculus Rift. If you happen to have one of those, I think that'd be a great way to experience any first-person horror game like Slender. I had played Slender the Arrival, I think a couple months back. It must have been for a beta test. It definitely looked much better than the original Slender. Not that, visuals is the most important thing, but I think in a horror game it really helps to create the atmosphere. The game looks good. It's an improvement over the original Slender, and like I said, that is available right now for $9.99. Now on to today, Tuesday, October the 29th, we have a few interesting titles coming out, beginning with probably the most anticipated game of this week, which is Battlefield 4. This is, of course, the most recent installment in the Battlefield franchise. The game's single-player campaign will be taking place 6 years after the events of Battlefield 3 in the year 2020. But honestly, who cares about single player in a Battlefield game? The multiplayer will be continuing the class-based objective-driven gameplay with maps that include both small-scale infantry-focused combat and large-scale vehicular warfare. Also, Battlefield 4 introduces Levolution. This is more than just destructible environments, but destructible environments that completely change the dynamics of a map. For example, a towering skyscraper can take a map from something that's more close-quarters focused. Once that is destroyed, it all of a sudden becomes an open battlefield which you can get shot from a great distance. Also, levees can break, inducing floods, which makes the level much more difficult to traverse. Pretty interesting dynamic levels that they are introducing here with Battlefield 4. This is also going to mark the return of Commander Mode from Battlefield 2, in which one player takes command of the map from overhead and gives objectives to his teammates. Battlefield 4 available now for $59.99. Also released today is the director's cut of Deadly Premonition. The game originally launched in February 2010 for the 360 and PS3. This is an open-world, third-person horror game that follows the story of FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan as he investigates the brutal murder of a young local beauty in the town of Greenvale. The director's cut is going to include some new features and enhanced HD graphics over the original game. This is supposed to be a really good game. It's nothing that I have ever played, but I've definitely heard great things about it. The director's cut available now for $24.99. We also have a game coming out on early access today, which is Nether. This is a game that's getting me quite excited. It's a first-person urban survival game set in a post-apocalyptic world. It features vast and vertical city environments where players will have access to nearly every building. There's also scarce resources in the environment, which makes survival a difficult prospect as players monitor their hunger and stamina. The game has up to 64 players per server, so you'll be going a server-based multiplayer experience. They're sort of calling this an MMO, but it's also sort of not. It's a post-apocalyptic urban survival game with lots of players. The early access to this game available now for $29.99. Rounding off today's releases is Master Reboot, a first-person sci-fi adventure horror game with action and puzzle elements. The game is set in the Soul Cloud, which is a giant server that holds the data of your soul and memories for when you die. The game features 34 unique environments with a very distinct and stylized art style and a dynamic atmospheric soundtrack. Prior to today, I never heard of Master Reboot, but I have to say I love the visuals of this game. I love the atmosphere and the tone tone of the environments just from looking at screenshots and the gameplay footage. It looks like it could be rather interesting. That is available right now for $14.99. And the final new release that I wanted to mention this week is coming out on Thursday, October the 31st, and that is Sniper Elite Nazi Zombie Army 2, the follow-up to Sniper Elite Nazi Zombie Army, which was a spin-off of Sniper Elite. This is a 4-player co-op campaign. It's going to be featuring brand new enemies and environments over the original Nazi Zombie Army. You know, if I recall correctly, I actually thought Nazi Zombie Army was okay, so I suppose I'm not that upset that there's a sequel. I wonder if this is just something that they're going to keep coming out with a new installment every year around Halloween. I certainly hope that's not the case. I didn't think it was that great of a game. I'll be interested to see if this one is any better, although I'm not holding my breath. So that's going to do it for this week's new PC releases. I know obviously Assassin's Creed 4 is coming out this week, unfortunately not available as of yet on the PC. There was also a slew of other Halloween-themed games, but I just wanted to mention the most notable ones. If you'd like to see more of what's coming out this week, you can probably just head on over to Steam, and they will have you mostly covered. So now that we've covered new PC releases for the week, let's go ahead and talk about my planned content. I am definitely planning on covering Battlefield 4. I plan to pick up the game probably tomorrow or the day after, and then I'll dive in and likely give you guys some coverage and some impressions. I'm also really interested in checking out the early access for Nether. I think that looks like it could potentially be a really cool little title. And then I may possibly look at Master Reboot and Sniper Elite Nazi Zombie Army 2. And that pretty much does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this coverage of new PC releases for the week, as well as my planned content. If you guys like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.